Good afternoon, everyone. Just going to try to bring up as many pages as possible here so that I can talk to everyone, ask questions. Let's see, this should be popping up, is it not? Well, that's weird. All right. At least it's working on this page. So we'll just go with that for now. Turn this down. I hope everyone is having a good Monday. I am sorry. I know this is not what we like to deal with at the end or near end of hurricane season. And believe me, my family down here, not thrilled either. But the good news here, if there is some, is that we are watching this well ahead of time. Most computer models at this point are still in the tropical storm range for landfall somewhere in southeast Florida. Could be anywhere from the Space Coast to Miami-Dade is the way it's looking right now. But the center of the cone is closer to our viewing area. But of course, it's still a little spread out as we get to Wednesday night and Thursday. So let me run through a few things real quick. I'll try to get through a bunch of your questions here, but we also have some other things in the studio that they're asking me to do. First of all, if you're not from this area, my name is Glenn Glazer. I am a first warning meteorologist for WPBF 25 News. We cover South Florida from Palm Beach County to the Treasure Coast to Okeechobee County. Nice big viewing area, and we are in line to see a very rainy and windy Wednesday and Thursday, and for that we have called first warning weather days, which means we believe here that the weather could greatly impact your day-to-day activities. So let's run through some of the latest data, and then we'll come back to answering some questions here. This is the satellite picture, subtropical storm Nicole. Some differences. People ask me, what's the difference? Why is it a subtropical storm? Why isn't it a tropical storm? A subtropical storm is a little bit different than a tropical storm. A subtropical storm is really generated from warm and cold air kind of coming together and forming that circulation. And usually a subtropical storm actually has a front along with it, a cold front, a warm front, something of that nature. Typically clear in the middle, less cloud cover in the middle than a tropical cyclone. And a lot of the times the winds extend a little farther out from the center than a tropical cyclone, because tropical cyclones tend to be more compact. When you get to tropical storms and hurricanes, they're more compact in that way. There is a very good chance that Nicole will become tropical over the next 24 to 48 hours. It'll have to make a transition from getting its power from warm and cold air colliding to instead using that warm water vapor rising up from the warm ocean water to help fuel the storm. Once it does that, it kind of becomes its own entity. It's got its own fuel. It doesn't have to rely on anything. And that's when it could strengthen into a strong tropical storm. Couple of models have borderline Category 1 hurricane, which is why the Hurricane Center currently has that in the forecast and put our viewing area under a hurricane watch, the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach County as well, Okeechobee County under a tropical storm watch. Let's go back to our graphics and we'll advance here. So here's a look at the watches right now. In pink, the hurricane watch that has been issued. That means hurricane conditions are possible within the next 48 hours. And in the yellow, tropical storm watch, meaning tropical storm conditions, winds 39 to 73 miles per hour, are possible in the next 48 hours. So again, we're looking at a borderline Category 1 storm or a very strong tropical storm moving into the southeast coast of Florida. At least that's the way the computer models are trending. They continue to do so. There are a few outliers there that go up to the north pretty quickly, some that travel up toward the Space Coast and toward Jacksonville and southern Georgia, but a majority of them continue to show this sort of loop-de-loop up to the northwest, down to the southwest, and then back to the west again as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, and then a big turn up to the north as it rides an approaching cold front up to the north there. And actually, that makes for some very nice weather for us as we get into the weekend. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So here's the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. If you're used to watching these updates, waiting for these updates, you'll notice this one came out at 1 p.m. instead of 2 p.m. Why is that? Because we had a time change over the weekend. So everything now in November comes out an hour earlier. Instead of a 5 a.m. update from the Hurricane Center, it'll be a 4 a.m. update. Instead of an 11 a.m., it'll be a 10 a.m., et cetera, et cetera. So the 2 p.m. now comes out at 1 p.m. Let's go back to it. 45-mile-per-hour winds, subtropical storm, moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. Expected to make that turn on Tuesday down to the southwest and then begin gaining strength. So it's right in there where it starts to transition into a tropical cyclone instead of subtropical storm, and that's when it could get up to 70 miles per hour and maybe even a low-end Category 1 hurricane with winds at 75 miles per hour just before moving in to the southeast coast of Florida. Then it quickly weakens back into a tropical storm if it becomes a hurricane, or else it stays a tropical storm if it makes landfall as a tropical storm, and then curves around up to the north along the coast there. One of the big things we've been watching, not just winds here, but also wave heights. A lot of the computer models showing wave heights getting up to 20-foot seas or higher as we get into Wednesday night and early Thursday with the approach of Nicole. Those are some really big waves, and that's major beach erosion and very, very dangerous conditions along the coast there. Here's the latest intensity forecast. In the blue, that is where we see tropical storm conditions, and you'll see the collection of computer models that are in this all have it staying within that blue, with one model just barely touching that light green Category 1 intensity late Wednesday, early Thursday. And it's because of that you're seeing that pop up on the National Hurricane Center official track. It's because there's that slim chance that it could become a Category 1 storm, and better safe than sorry in that case. If they didn't put it on there and then it became a Category 1 hurricane, people would be like, why didn't you say it was going to become a Cat 1? And then if it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't, but better that we prepare for, the worst, which is a Category 1 storm, than not prepare for it. So that is why you're seeing that on the official track. So let's take a look here. Wind gusts. You'll see future gusts. Here's Tuesday afternoon. It starts to get pretty gusty, not directly from the storm, but because there's a difference in pressure. Remember, Nicole's a big area of low pressure out there in the Atlantic. There's some high pressure to our north, and so we kind of get the squeeze play between the high pressure to our north and Nicole to our east, and we get squished in there, and that creates windier conditions. It's called a pressure gradient. The change in pressure over a short geographical distance can increase the wind. So we start to see some really gusty winds getting into tomorrow, just below tropical storm force winds even tomorrow. And then as we get into Wednesday early morning, you'll see those winds getting up to near tropical storm strength. Look at that, in the 40s. That's tropical storm force winds. 39 miles per hour is the cusp of that. So once you get above 39 miles per hour, you're talking about tropical storm force winds as early as Wednesday morning, continuing through Wednesday afternoon. And then we get into Thursday, and you'll see by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, everything dies down. What you may have noticed is in there, didn't see any hurricane force gusts. That's not to say, again, that it couldn't strengthen to a Cat 1, but most models at this point still keeping it a tropical storm. But we don't want to discount the fact that it could strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane. So for beachgoers and boaters, already getting pretty hairy out there. Northeast winds 20 to 25 knots. Small craft advisory, see 6 to 9 feet now, but again, could get up to 20 feet or higher as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Warm and windy. Fast showers around for today. Tonight, breezy and windy with a few quick showers. Tomorrow, it gets gusty and rain chances go up. Scattered showers, a few thunderstorms in the mix. Here's another look at it. I put the track on this too, just so you can see the rain combined with the actual track. So you see that zooming on up there, coming in late Wednesday, early Thursday. We went ahead and made Wednesday and Thursday first warning weather days, as I mentioned at the top of this Facebook Live. So that just means, look, those are going to be rough days around here. Rainy, windy, probably tropical storm conditions, and maybe that slim outside chance of it reaching Category 1 hurricane status. But, all in all, not the greatest couple of days. So let me run through some questions here, and see. I'll just try to answer a few because I know they're waiting for me over here for this 2:30 guy. I have to go back up here and see. Um, Hello from everybody who said hi, from Cameron and Roberta. Um, Any by way of Chicago, Illinois. Hello there, Ernest. Good to see you. Let me find some questions in here. Will Miami airports be open Thursday? I mean, obviously, I don't make those calls. I would say, could we see some delays from Wednesday afternoon through at least Thursday morning, Thursday early afternoon? Maybe. Winds are going to be pretty intense. If the storm is a little farther north from Miami, then it might be a different story and may not be impacted down there. They have meteorologists down there who make those calls for them when it comes to airports. But I appreciate you asking. Will we be able to come in tomorrow night at Palm Beach around 7 p.m.? Our flight's tomorrow. Again, that's a call for the meteorologists at the airport. They make those decisions based on safety for flying. Tomorrow night will be windy, but not really the main impact from Nicole. That will mainly be late Wednesday through early Thursday. That's when we'll see the heart of it moving in. Explain subtropical there. I hope you caught that if you missed the subtropical to tropical. Another way of thinking of it, sometimes when people ask me and I try to come up with an analogy for it, it's kind of like if you're on a sailboat with no engine and you're at the mercy of the wind, you're under the power of the wind. Whatever the wind does, that's how fast you go. That's how strong you can move through the water. However, if you have an engine on that sailboat and you turn it on, suddenly you're making your own power. And that's a tropical cyclone. So subtropical is just kind of at the mercy of the warm and cold air. But once you crank on that engine, then you're talking about getting your own power and being able to go even faster than the wind would carry you, faster than you would normally go. And that's the difference between subtropical and tropical. Tropical has its own fuel from that warm water. Subtropical relies a lot on the atmospheric conditions around it. Just moved here from New Mexico. Welcome to South Florida and the Treasure Coast. Watch the forecast carefully. Decide what you want to do. Hurricane shutters. That's a big question that we get a lot. The suggestion, the recommendation is not from us. We don't make suggestions like this. It's from the National Hurricane Center, and it is that if you're under a hurricane watch, we recommend from the Hurricane Center that you put your shutters up. That is obviously a personal choice that you can make based on the forecast. I never want to tell somebody, don't do that, because then if something happens to their home, they could say, well, you said don't do that. I'm just saying the recommendation from the Hurricane Center is hurricane watch, shutters go up. That's what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to leave it at that and sort of stay neutral. It's obviously a personal decision. I've already talked to some of my neighbors. Some of them said I'm putting them up. Some of them said I'm not putting my shutters up. So that's totally your thing, and you can make that decision for your home and your family, whatever you want to do. That's all the time I really have. I don't see many more new questions coming in here. So I'll leave it at that for now. We're going to continue to do these Facebook Live updates. We'll have, of course, everything on WPBF.com. We'll have team coverage with Chris Martinez and Mike Lyons and myself starting at 4 p.m. today, and that is when the next update comes out from the National Hurricane Center. So if you need anything, be sure to ask us any questions on social media. We are here for you. We've been through a lot of these together. This is my 22nd year on the air in this market, so we've all been here. Mike Lyons over 30 years. Chris has been down here for well over a decade, and he was in Texas before that. We know each other from there. So we know the area, we know these weather systems, and we're happy to help you out. All right. Everybody have a good afternoon, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.